So there's this video essay that's been making the rounds online, and it argues that to save Hollywood, actors need to do one simple, maybe not so simple thing: just stop talking about politics. Is that really the answer? Well, let's break down the core argument from that source material. The whole thing really kicks off with this pretty provocative quote from comedian Bill Maher. The source video uses this as its launchpad, basically saying that celebrity opinions aren't just unhelpful, they're actively hurting the entire entertainment industry.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. We'll follow the source's logic step by step. First, we'll look at its main thesis and how it claims actors are alienating their audience. Then, we'll check out this Markiplier model it presents as an alternative, dig into a specific case study, and finally get to the, well, controversial solution it proposes.
Okay, let's dive into the central claim here. The source video's whole argument really boils down to this: when actors share their social or political views in public, they're putting not just their own projects at risk, but the financial health of Hollywood itself.
Now, the way the source sees it, this isn't just a PR problem, it's a storytelling problem. The idea is that deep down, all stories are basically morality tales. So when an actor's public statements seem to clash with the audience's own moral compass, that audience won't just reject the actor, they'll reject the whole story they're trying to tell. So how does the source actually back this up? In this next part, the video tries to draw a straight line from things celebrities have said to what it calls some pretty disastrous box office numbers.
Okay, Exhibit A for the source video is Rachel Zegler, the star of Disney's new live-action Snow White. It focuses heavily on this quote, and others like it, where she critiques the original 1937 movie. The source frames this as her directly attacking the audience's love for a classic story. And this is where the source really drops the hammer, financially speaking. It directly ties Ziegler's comments to a reported and massive $170 million loss for Disney on the Snow White project. And it's not just a one-off thing, according to the video. They argue this is a pattern. It points to actor John Leguizamo and writer Kelly Sue DeConnick, who it says basically told people, hey, if you don't agree with me, don't consume my art. It even brings up Kristen Stewart's own critiques of the industry she works in.
So after laying out what it sees as the problem, the video pivots to what it thinks is the solution. It holds up a counterexample of what Hollywood should be doing. And the model for success? Well, it comes from YouTuber Markiplier and his indie horror movie Iron Lung. The video lays out these two totally different ways of doing things. On one side, you've got Hollywood, which it says is trying to appeal to absolutely everyone while also trying to shape culture. According to the video, that's a recipe for disaster. But then you have the Markiplier model. It hyper-focuses on one specific niche audience and just gives them exactly what they came for. Simple.
Okay, buckle up, because this is where the argument takes a turn into some pretty complex territory. The video then tries to explain the why behind some of these public spats, using a very specific psychological theory to look at recent controversies around actress Sydney Sweeney and a voice actress from the game Overwatch. So what is this big theory? How in the world does the source try to connect these seemingly random dots in the entertainment industry? Okay, so the video brings in this theory from evolutionary psychology, and it's worth pointing out, this is a pretty debated field. It claims that women evolved to compete with other women using indirect methods. Think social tactics and reputation damage instead of direct fights. The goal, according to this theory, is to protect their own status and value in a social hierarchy. And according to the source, this strategy plays out in a few key ways. We're talking about indirect verbal attacks, trying to undermine rivals who are seen as more attractive, straight-up reputation destruction, basically anything to knock down a perceived threat to one's social standing.
All right, so let's see how the video actually uses this theory. In the Sydney Sweeney case, it claims that the criticism she faced from other women was really just this indirect hostility fueled by jealousy. And with the Overwatch voice actress, it argues that her public complaints about her own character being too attractive were actually a way to undermine the character's appeal, which she supposedly saw as a rival for fan attention.
And all of this, all these examples and theories, it's all building up to the video's grand finale. The creator doesn't just point out a problem, they offer a very direct and, very controversial solution for the entire industry.
So here's the bottom line. The source video just completely dismisses celebrity activism. It describes it with this quote, calling it nothing but self-interest and social manipulation. The argument is that it's not about genuine belief, it's about a selfish desire for attention.
So what's the big fix? Well, the source breaks it down pretty simply. Problem? Actors are too selfish and greedy to stop talking. Solution? Hollywood studios have to force them to stop. Literally write gag orders on social and political issues right into their contracts.
And the video ends on this really bold promise. It claims that if studios actually did this, the results would be immediate and amazing. We'd get better movies, Hollywood would make a lot more money, and it would be the single best move the industry has made in years.
And that really leaves us with one big question to chew on, doesn't it? The argument we've just walked through makes a case for enforced silence to achieve commercial success. But you have to wonder, if you save an industry by silencing its biggest voices, what's the real cultural price you pay for that silence?